think I've ever started a show on time.
Us neither. Welcome to Bracket Bash, the podcast where we take a bracket of 32, 64, 128 or more and banter our way down to a winner. As always, I'm your humble host, Freddie Fisher, and this is Jess.
You're gonna screw that up a little bit more, Freddie.
Probably, yes.
Best looking bastard, Jess.
Q.
Are you really humble though?
No.
I try not to be, but it's just I fail at it.
It's just natural, right?
Yep.
Anyway, this is your boy Q, aka the best bastard of them all, aka usually Mr. Fashionably Late, which I was to the pre-show, I guess. But it is what it is. So let's get this shit going. Let's go.
Next up as a guest this week, we have Ryan. Introduce yourself there, sir.
Hi, my name's Ryan. I'm the co-owner of GG Productions and a host of the Midnight Coffee podcast, which is actually not. We do like snippets shows that are kind of similar to this. We're more of just like a casual like talk show, but these are my favorite shows when you just get to debate and argue about fun stuff. So really, thank you guys for having me, and I'm pumped to be on here.
And back for his second week, we have Brian from thedailydank.com. He is also, by the way, he is an official bastard now. He is our newest bastard. He has officially joined the crew. He's going to be on a lot more shows, and we're really happy to have him. He also, as well, if you guys haven't noticed, got my name this week. The entire "Okay USA,"
the greatest line out of the movie ever.
I was literally just listening to last week's episode, which is out on Spotify now. You can go ahead and check that one out. But Brian, how are you doing today?
Oh man, I'm doing great. You guys check out thedailydank.com, man. It was just 420, and we got so much content going on over there, guys. Giveaways, we're doing Cheech and Chong autograph poster giveaways, whole bunch of stuff, guys. So come check it out.
I'm glad to have all you guys here this week. We are doing something very special. This show is dedicated to today's holiday, which happens to be Earth Day, and the best way to celebrate Earth Day is to blow shit up. And we're going to blow shit up today because we are talking about action movies. This is part 2 of action movies, which means we'll be finding a winner for today. We are going back to last week's winner, which, if I remember right, was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Is one of the few times I will actually say Raiders in a good way. So it will be facing... It will be facing today's.
From last week, it's because he's a Raiders fan.
Oh no, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, I'm a Vikings fan, and I still feel less tortured than Raiders fans. So that's something.
That's sadly true.
But Raiders of the Lost Ark will be facing one of these 32 movies. I will be starting us off, and we have Mad Max 2 from 1981 versus V for Vendetta 2005. V for Vendetta is one of my at least top 20 movies of all time, regardless of any kind of genre. It will be getting my vote pretty much to this entire quarter, depending if it happens to move on, but it gets my vote. Jess, V for Vendetta or Mad Max 2?
I'm going to go with Mad Max.
Shame. Q.
That's exactly why.
Really? Top 20, Freddie.
Yes.
Seriously, that's saying a lot. I didn't think. I mean, it was a good movie. I didn't think it was that good though. Like, it wasn't definitely like.
Freddie has weird taste. What can you say?
I mean, I'd say top 50, but top 20, no.
It's a movie that I watch every November 5th.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I did. That's the day after my birthday and the day before my brother-in-law's. Interesting.
Remember the 5th of November.
5th of November, yes. Story of Guy Fawkes.
So, I mean, however, I did like the scene where he just had like the automatic crossbow or she. So I'm gonna go with V for Vendetta. V for Vendetta. Ow. V for Vendetta. Jesus, rhyming me.
V for Vendetta gets a vote. Ryan, what is yours?
So I'm also going to go V for Vendetta. I think that it is kind of a unique film, and I think V is such a cool protagonist throughout the film, but kind of a underlying shot or an under talked about part is Natalie Portman's like acting in that movie is like maybe my favorite of her career, and she's got a pretty like solid career. So yeah, definitely gonna move on that one for me.
It gets a vote and the win. Brian, finish us out.
I'm wondering what Master Blaster would vote on this. You guys remember Master Blaster from Mad Max 2, the big guy with the little guy on his back? Oh, Master Blaster. I think Master Blaster would vote for V for Vendetta. I think he even knows. So Master.
I mean, he would definitely lose that fight. He would definitely lose that fight. So
Yeah. V for Vendetta moves on. Or
either. So
V for Vendetta moves on 4-1, going into the next round. Next up, Jess starts us off. We have 1987's Lethal Weapon versus Fast 5 from 2011.
I'm going with Fast 5.
Gets a vote. Q.
fucked on. Fast 5.
I felt that the Fast and Furious movies had to be included in this bracket somewhere, so I literally looked up the top ranked of all 9 of them that are currently out. There's a 10th one
That would
coming out.
definitely be number 5, I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was number 5 among multiple lists. So Fast 5 was that one. Ryan, Fast 5, Lethal Weapon.
Definitely Lethal Weapon. I come on. Mel Gibson is awesome in that movie, and I know we were talking about guilty pleasures before. Tokyo Drift is my favorite Fast and Furious movie. I know
that is weird because that's usually the least liked one. I don't mind Tokyo Drift personally, but a lot of people don't like it.
Lethal Weapon gets a vote. Brian.
Yay.
My
bad, Brady. My bad, man. I apologize.
Actually worked on Fast 5. I was a production assistant out. They filmed it about 100 miles from where we lived, where they jumped the car through the train. I actually was a production assistant on that. Long story, I had to clean toilets for a friend to get on set, and I pitched myself to them, and they said, yeah, come on, be a production assistant. But with that being said, even though I'm connected to it, I got to go Lethal Weapon, man. The storyline, the tortured soul. Mel Gibson, his wife was killed. He's trying to like suicide a little bit, and he's trying to find himself. Man, I got to go Lethal Weapon.
Which means there's a tiebreaker coming down to me. If you want to talk about what action movies are mostly blow them up type things where there's no plot line to them, at least not a lot of plot line to them. Lethal Weapon actually has a lot of plot line to it, so I got to give it that. Unfortunately, it also takes out the element of an action movie to it. So I think as far as action for action goes, I'm going to have to go with Fast 5.
Now, boy, go Booker T. 5 times. Let's go.
That was only 3 times.
In a split vote. Fast 5 will be moving on to the next round. I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to end up getting past it, though. Q starts us off. We have from 1954, 7 Samurai versus 2008's Taken.
It's Liam Neeson. I mean, I could kick his ass, but it's Liam Neeson. You know, like
I will find you.
Anybody got the reference there? You got it. If you didn't, you didn't.
I don't know. I personally think this is kind of a recency bias type thing. But Ryan, 7 Samurai versus Taken.
So I'm going to say 7 Samurai, but for a really weird reason, which is 7 Samurai is a great film, but it inspired so many other movies afterwards. Magnificent Seven is actually based off of it. The remake was really good with Chris Pratt, and then there's the original. I think it's from like the 80s. It's just an exceptional movie. So to where Taken is fun and has a lot of quotable lines, 7 Samurai has like grown beyond that film. So I think its history is too much not to get the vote.
I don't think Taken has a lot of lines that are quotable, though. The only real quotable line in that movie was the entire I will find you, I will kill you.
Yeah, that's
And-
And you're forgetting the most quotable line of the entire movie.
that he has a special
Good
set of
luck.
skills. Yeah, good luck. Yeah. Anyway, but that's really the only line in that movie, and that's quotable. Seven Samurai really doesn't have a lot of quotable lines either, but it is a better movie overall for me. Brian, Seven Samurai or Taken?
The filmmaker in me, the freaking historian. I love Seven Samurai. We studied it in school. It was a whole thing. But if we're going action movie, if we're going what an action movie is, Taken. I mean, Seven Samurai for the time was a great action movie. But if you fast forward to what Taken is, and if you're just going based solely on action, I got to go Taken.
Taken gets a vote. I will be tying this up, which means Jess will be getting the tiebreaker. Seven Samurai, as Brian was saying, has multiple historical elements that just takes it above and beyond. Taken, it's a good movie. It's a terrible franchise. Like the second and third one are just
Yeah, they should have stopped with the first, honestly.
They really should have. What's really funny is that Taken was in our Father's Movies episode we had last Father's Day, and it almost won, or maybe it did win. I can't remember, but it was in the finals at least.
Well, I mean,
if you really
think about it.
If you really think about it, though, that guy was a terrible dad.
Yes, but
Yeah, right.
to also though to be able to do what he did, go to a different country and track down his daughter and shit, like that's phenomenal.
The thing is, though, is that he has those skills.
None of us would do that. We'd
Yeah,
sit
no,
here and fucking call the police and be like, eh.
But you don't have those skills. He has the skills because he's been trained how to do those things. So it wouldn't.
But
It
still,
wouldn't be a
though,
big deal.
it's an incredible thing to think about, though.
It would be a much bigger deal if you did that than if he did that, because he has the
Right, but
connection.
I can also kick his ass, so.
Well, if a film has worse sequels, does it degrade the original for you guys too? Because it does for me, right? Like
No, it
Wick
makes me
was,
like the original that much better.
I almost disconnect, like especially if the second one is just trash after the first one, I almost disconnect the rest of them from that, and I just hold the one film by itself.
It makes me like the original one usually a little bit better.
They're
Either way,
almost
it is a
as
tie
bad-
game.
It almost is getting bad as I don't know if you guys remember the old Death Wish movies where like they got into 7 and 8 and it was literally Charles Bronson would knock on a door and a girl would answer and be like, "Hey, I served with your dad in the military. I'm here to save you." Okay. And then there's ruffians outside. Like the plots were horrible. And that's, I think, Taken's getting that way. They're stealing his cousins now and his uncles. I mean, come on.
It is a tie game. Jess gets to finish this out. Is it Taken or Seven Samurai?
I'm going with Taken.
I already had it written down. Taken moves on 3-2. It is a split vote. Ryan starts us off. We have Runaway Train from 1985 versus Crank 2006.
So I'm gonna go for Crank. Runaway Train's a good movie, but Crank is just so like stupid fun. Like there has never been a movie quite like Crank where you can just shut your brain off and not care at all. And it does it in such a ridiculous way that it's still fun. Where like the newest Fast and the Furious movies have kind of gotten like too ridiculous for fun. Where I think Crank was just the perfect amount of like insanity.
Crank is the one with Jason Statham, right?
Yeah.
Statham, yes. He's
Jason, yeah, Statham.
He's the one that there's a scene in the movie where he has to hook up a car battery to his nipples to get his entire adrenaline going again. It's
right. Isn't it like if his like adrenaline drops to a certain level, he dies or something, right?
Yeah. His
The sex
heart will
scene
stop.
to get his heart rate up at the horse race track is so stupid, and I love it. It's so fun. Like that's the funniest like sex scene I've ever seen in a film. It makes me laugh every time.
You said horse races, and then I heard sex scene. I am really confused.
Yeah, there's a sex scene on a horse
It's
race
one in
track.
the same. Yeah, it's one in the same.
It's ridiculous and it's great.
Brian, Runaway Train from 85 or Crank 2006.
I like Runaway Train, but man, action movies, you got to go Crank. Like the cinematography in that is off the chain too. Like the camera angles and the different choices they made it just really draws you in. A lot of POV, which I like in like those kind of movies, which is very cool. So
There's
Crank.
a movie that's based on POV. We're gonna get to later. This is a personal pick for me. It didn't appear on any of the lists that I found, but I wanted to put it in here. I love this movie just for the concept alone. Hardcore Henry.
I was just thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I was
if
gonna like interject and be like, Hardcore Henry was a great example of like amazing cinematography with just kind of a dumb fun movie.
For the people out there
just
who
for the record, not her, but you, Freddie, and you, Ryan. You guys are starting to scare me.
For the people out there who haven't seen Hardcore Henry, what it is, it's an action movie shot from the point of view of the action star. You never see the action star's face or anything else. Maybe in a
Not
reflection.
even like in a reflection?
That's what I'm saying. You may see it in a reflection every once in a while, but it's not something you got to like stop frame to see it.
And actually see it, yeah.
But
it's
he's
like
running.
playing Doom. It's like
playing Doom. You run through the entire thing. Doom had a POV shot at the end of the movie.
Yeah, it did. That was actually a pretty good shot too.
Yeah,
it was one of the first ones that actually did that. But we'll be getting that one later on. I love the movie, but I put it against a movie that I personally think is better. So even though I specifically put Hardcore Henry in here, I made sure it was a hard battle to get on to round 2 as well. So Crank gets a second vote from Brian. I will be going with Crank as well. Jess, what is your vote?
Crank.
Crank. And Q?
I all love Crank.
Q says crank it up.
Crank it up. It is a sweet 5-0 Crank. Moves on to the next round. Brian starts us off. We have 1986 Aliens versus 2018's Ready Player One.
Ooh.
Oh, we're talking action, right? Oh man, love me some Ready Player One, but I don't know if I categorize that as like an action movie like I would Alien. So I got to say Alien.
Alien gets a vote. I would consider Ready Player One more of an action movie than freaking Aliens is. I would consider Aliens a sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
but
Ready Player One just seemed like maybe because the action was more fun. You know, like I kind of put it like with the Goonies, that type of action. So maybe it's just lost on me, like the action part. It just went over my head because I was so immersed with everything else.
Well, the entire action scenes in Ready Player One, they're not only live action scenes, but they're computer action scenes as well too, because they're in a game when they're doing it. Giggity.
Yeah.
So it just has more to it. Aliens, and I've never liked the movie Aliens anyway. But going action to action, Ready Player One, I personally think it's more of an action movie than Aliens is. But that's for me. Jess, Aliens, Ready Player One.
I'm going with Ready Player One.
Gets another vote. Q.
I can't tell you how many times I've hit like X on the PlayStation controller and just heard Ready Player One, or something like that. So let's go.
Ready Player One gets another vote. Ryan, finish us out.
I mean, Ridley Scott is an iconic director who made an awesome horror movie. And for James Cameron, who might be one of the few directors to ever make what is possibly a better movie as a sequel that's in a different genre, is so hard to do. And Aliens is maybe one of my top 20 films of all time. I think it's exceptional. So Aliens 100% is getting the vote from me.
Boo.
It is 3-2. Ready Player One moves on to the next round. I start us off. We have North by Northwest, 1959 versus Drunken Master, 1994. I have a feeling I know where this vote is going to go. I'm okay with it, but North by Northwest will be getting my vote. I'm going to prevent a sweep on this one. Jess, is it North by Northwest or Drunken Master?
I'm going to go Drunken Master since that's closer to the year I was born. I've never seen either one of these movies.
It's Jackie Chan before he came to America.
If I remember, Drunken Master is Jackie Chan. So.
It is Jackie Chan before he came to America. It's what
North
he
by-
built over in China.
North by Northwest is a Orson Welles, not Orson Welles. Hitchcock movie.
I thought you were gonna say Kanye made it or
Oh, okay,
something.
yeah, I was trying to think of what it. Okay, now I know what it is.
Yeah, and it's an action movie throughout the entire thing. It's a precursor to The Fugitive.
Hmm.
So it's 1-1 right now. Q, Drunken Master, North by Northwest.
Oh, Drunken Master! I remember seeing that. That movie was funny as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. I found it was funny. The acting was pretty terrible, but it was still funny as hell. Like just his, it's funny as hell. I love it.
It gets a vote. Ryan, North by Northwest, Drunken Master.
It's gonna be Drunken Master. Like Jackie Chan is just such a fun actor, and I like North by Northwest. It's one of my favorite like classic movies, or like older films. It reminds me a lot of Bond, actually, like with the way it was like back then, and kind of similar taste. But Jackie Chan is just comically fun in that, and it's another kick your shoes off, have a beer, watch a dumb movie. Drunken Master.
And Brian, finish us out.
I got it. There's two directors that I probably will never go against in my entire life: Orson Welles and Alfred Hitchcock. I gotta go North by Northwest. Hitchcock, man. I mean, the master, him and Orson Welles, iconic. So I gotta go. And Orson Welles has nothing to do with this. I just brought his name into it.
Well, no, see, that's the thing is I couldn't remember which of the directors it was offhand because they both came to mind at the same time. And like, well, wait a minute, I got to remember going back to the beginning of the movie, how that entire thing started, and like, the entire Hitchcock framing. North by Northwest does not move on.
Hitchcock.
Drunken Master moves on 3-2 to the next round.
I got a quick question. Was that the dog that's licking your face? Was that the giver or the receiver?
Well,
We had something going on off camera earlier, and I just
this dog is
had to follow up.
attacking the shit out of me right now.
This is our male that likes to sit on our female's face, and she likes to lick him in the naughty spot.
No area.
I was just curious where that tongue was before it was on his face. That was
Tongue was nowhere. It's our other.
okay. All right.
This one, her tongue was on him.
And look, she's passed out. She had a good time. Sorry, guys.
No. Jess starts us off on the next one, and we have I can't wait to hear Ryan and Brian views on these, but
Sounds like
Jess
a bad
starts us
morning
off.
show.
We have 2003's Old Boy versus 2005 Unleashed.
Quick, what Old Boy is it?
That was my exact
foreign, or
question.
is it the American version?
I would go American version on this one because it's a little bit more well known, unfortunately.
There's your
Bad boy in America, so
Ooh.
there's,
That always changes my
I've never
answer.
seen the American version.
there's your answer, Ryan. Ryan literally asked me that right now. Show.
Mm.
But-
I'm gonna go with Unleashed.
Unleashed gets a vote. If I remember, Unleashed is Jet Li.
Yeah.
Plot line throughout the movie, he is kind of an assassin type thing, but he's treated like a dog, and then he gets given a task, and it's a fucked up movie. It's a fucked up situation, but it's a damn good movie. Unleashed gets Jess's vote. Q, Unleashed or Old Boy?
Unleashed.
Gets another one. Ryan, Old Boy, Unleashed.
So this is really hard because if it was like, because I love Unleashed, I think it's a really fun movie, and I love that like kung fu subgenre. But God, if it was the original Old Boy, like the foreign film, because I love foreign films, all day. And I think I'm still going to give it to the American remake because it's still a really good adaptation. But I don't think it'll go, like, I don't think either of these movies would go very far up the bracket for me. The original Old Boy would be something I'd fight for headed up on it. So I'm going to give it to Old Boy. the American version, but know that deep down I wish it was the original Korean. I think it was Korean film. Yeah, I think it was Korean.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so,
I'm pretty sure it's Korean. Old boy gets a vote. Brian.
Man, like he said, if we were going Old Boy the 4-in-1, just that fight scene alone where he's fighting 37 million guys or whatever he's going through. I like Old Boy. Even the I'll have to go Old Boy.
Which means it's tie game coming down to me. I love both of these movies. I think as far as action goes, they're tied. It's all action the entire time on both of these movies. I do think Old Boy has a little bit more of a storyline going through it, which it's hard to have all action and a storyline. So to have the all action and then have a good storyline going through it. Old Boy, if I remember right, it's the right movie. This guy was kept in like a trunk or something for like the longest time, and then released, given a certain amount of money and a note saying that you have a certain amount of time to find out who did this to you for, I think it was like 12 years or something like that. He was caged up. It's a thriller. It's an action movie. It's one of those movies that if you can find it, watch it at least once. So
Okay,
Old Boy.
Freddie, the last time you recommended a movie, I got like a half hour into and was like, trash.
What movie was that?
So bad.
No, what movie was it,
watch it.
What movie was that?
I don't remember which one it was. I remember he gave it to us to fucking.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the hell it was called though, but it was terrible.
It was like an
It
older,
It was like an 80s like horror movie.
like a funny horror.
It starts off with they're all on a beach, like an island or something.
It wasn't an 80s movie. That was like a 2000s movie. That was Club Dread.
Yeah,
Dread is awesome.
we
See?
could not finish.
That was
we
not
had-
2000s, was it?
Yeah. Dude, that was Jack Black.
That was not Jack Black was not in that.
Jack Black is in that movie. Jack Black dies. Jack Black dies with his head on a turntable,
Dude,
going in circles.
my dad is the biggest
It doesn't say Jack Black
Broken
in here.
Lizard.
fan.
Jack Black's not in here.
In
Bill
Club
Paxton
Dread? Yeah, he
Yeah, we're
is.
looking at the cast right now.
Jack
If you
Black
guys,
is not in here.
anyone who's watching this or is listening to this, just Google Club Dread Pina Colada Town, because there's a scene, I believe it's Bill Paxton, is like, he has this song, he gets mad because apparently Jimmy Buffett stole all of his songs, so he wrote Pina Colada Town and Jimmy Buffett wrote Margaritaville, and Jimmy Buffett's song Son of a Sailor, I just love it because he's like, he stole my song, that son of a bitch, and it is just so funny. I cry every time I see it. I love that movie. It's so fun.
Yeah,
man.
we couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
We were
It's,
I watched the half hour. I'm like, this is so bad.
it's really, really dumb, but it's like Scream though too. You kind of have to get in past a certain point, because once you meet all the characters and realize that they're all token characters, it's a Broken Lizards movie.
Oh yeah, no, that's even better.
Much
That's
like
really funny you say that because as we're scrolling through, it comes up
Yeah,
Broken Lizards Club Dread.
yeah, it's much like Super Troopers 1 and 2, Beer Fest.
Yeah,
they never
I
made
thought
pop.
those were better though.
Yeah, we just could not get into it.
Are
We're
they
just like,
Euro Trip?
Littering and
That is, yeah.
Littering, smoking the reefer. Anyway,
Hey, Scotty
tangent
doesn't know,
over.
guys.
Old Boy moves on to the next round. Q starts us off. This will be the last one in first half of first round. 300 from 2006 versus Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon will get hit by all those fucking arrows. 300.
300 gets a vote. Ryan, 300, Crouching Tiger.
Crouching Tiger. I love the action scenes there. I like 300, but a little bit too much slow mo for my taste. Stylistic, but action fight scenes. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, all the way.
Brian.
I love Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but 300, man, it was right in the time I was getting into filmmaking, and all the stuff they were doing was cutting edge, like the stop motion and them jumping and then freezing and then the camera turning. Like, yeah, man, 300 all the way for me.
Kind of a Matrix type feel to it, but different country.
Yeah.
And that Sparta kick's iconic.
Oh, yeah. The wall of bodies.
Mm-hmm. Drawn by
I'm going to give it to Jess as far as a tie-breaking decision. 300 or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Adding 300 thrust. You bet.
I'm going with 300.
It's fair.
300 gets a vote. It is 3-2. We'll be right back for the second half of round one. Stay tuned. Brian, you got an ad for us?
Yeah, definitely. I'm good to go.
Go ahead.
All right. Hey, guys, I'm Brian from thedailydink.com. Why don't you come check us out? We're on YouTube, Facebook, dailydink.com. We're on all the Twitters, guys. We're on all of them. Come check us out. We're doing a big giveaway for April. We're doing a Cheech and Chong signed 8x10. Check that out, guys. All you need to do is jump on thedailydink.com or any of our videos, hashtag Cheech and Chong, and you get entered to win. Just that easy, guys. We do weekly giveaways. We have all sorts of crazy shows. We do a 420 show, guys, where we do Movie Monday, Weed Wednesday, Paranormal Tuesday, True Crime Thursday, and of course Friday we do Baked and Unboxed, where we get baked and we unbox some stuff and we give it away, guys. Every Friday we do giveaways. Check us out. If you love cannabis, you love collectibles, you love pop culture, horror movies, everything, come on over, guys, and check us out. dailydink.com.
All right. Ryan, that's pretty much how it's done. I will give you a chance at the end of round one. Other than that, Jess, is Q back yet?
Yeah, we're both right here.
All right. Welcome back for the second half of round one. It looks like Ryan starts us off. We have 1971 French Connection versus 1963 From Russia with Love.
So this is a really tough one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with From Russia with Love. I really like the French Connection. I like that kind of like style to a film, but I think Sean Connery is, in my opinion, the best of the Bonds. And I think From Russia with Love is his best of those movies, because I think that's where it kind of crosses the line from like a serious tone and kind of like a goofy, fun spy movie. And I think From Russia with Love's a really good balance of fun and like serious tone. So I'm going to go with that.
Russia with Love gets a vote. Brian.
I might get some hate for this, but I personally have never been able to really connect with the James Bond movies. Like, I watch them, they're okay, but I leave and I'm not thinking about them. It's just they are what they are. But the French Connection, that's such a classic beginning of action movies. So many other movies, Bullet, different movies have taken from the French Connection. So I got to say French Connection.
Was Bullet before? Wasn't Bullet before French Connection? I thought Bullet was like 68.
Well, maybe French Connection took from Bullet, but I was thinking like the chase scenes under the bridge.
Well, because I remember Bullet was against Star Wars last week, and it was like there was like an 8-year difference, and Star Wars is 77. So. Wow,
I didn't realize Bullet was that old.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 68. I don't have it on me right now, but.
Well, my mistake. Well, anyway,
there
was other movies after the French Connection that took those chase scenes and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I love me some French Connection, man.
French Connection gets a vote. It is a tie game. I will be going. I'm a Bond fan, with the exception of Roger Moore. I could never really get into his stuff, but I don't know why. From Russia with Love gets my vote. Jess, From Russia with Love or the French Connection?
Russia with Love.
Which means that we'll be moving on. Q, finish us out.
Well, I'm kind of upset right now because there's a few of us that have, like a little French Connection. So, it's really upsetting that that didn't move on. But I'm going to vote for French Connection still.
Well, sometimes trips to Paris are always needed.
They weren't talking about the French guy down the street that hooks you up every once in a while. No.
Oh, fuck.
It's a different. Yeah, it's a
My
different
bad.
Just because I have French in me doesn't mean anything.
The French connection.
Okay, Brian starts us off on this next one. We have Terminator 2 Judgment Day from 1991 versus Gladiator 2000.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Mhm.
That's a tough one. Gladiator has the storyline. Not that Terminator 2 doesn't, but has that storyline, Russell Crowe. But you know what? I remember as a kid, we had a theater down the street from my house, a couple blocks away. I think I was homeschooled at that point, so I could beat the crowds to the theater. I went at the 1 o'clock show on Friday and saw Terminator 2 almost by myself in the theater as a young lad, like in 6th or 7th grade, and it just blew my mind. So I got to go Terminator 2, man. It is one of the biggest action movies of all time.
You were one of those guys that like slept with your teacher, right?
You saw the news article, man? I was a minor. Those records are sealed. Damn.
Forever.
Terminator 2 gets a vote on this one. I will be going for Gladiator. The fight scenes alone. I do think Terminator 2 is the best movie of the Terminator franchise, though, which is the reason why it is on this list. But Gladiator is. They're supposed to be coming out with the second one next year. So I'm excited to be watching that one, but it gets my vote. Jess, Gladiator, Terminator 2.
I'm gonna have to go with Gladiator. I didn't really care for Terminator.
Gets a vote. Q.
Honestly, thinking back on it, I feel like Terminator was a little, I don't know, maybe ahead, I guess. It was like, I don't know, very, very futuristic as opposed to like things we see now. We can actually kind of see or like that's probable, like it's gonna happen. As opposed to back then, it's like none of the shit would actually happen. But I'm still gonna go with
Gladiator.
Gladiator. Because Gladiator's just, it's a good movie, good storyline, everything else with it.
Yeah, it's all good.
Plot. I don't care about Mel Gibson, but
Mel Gibson's not in the movie, but Gladiator gets the third vote and the win.
He just wanted to tell us he doesn't care for Mel Gibson.
I don't care about Mel Gibson. What do you got to do with it?
Gibson.
Braveheart is what you're thinking of.
Yeah, he's in Braveheart.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, not on this list. Gladiator gets the third vote and the win. But Ryan, what is yours?
Patriot.
So this is actually the toughest.
Patriot's a good one, too.
The toughest head-to-head for me out of all of them. And Russell Crowe deserved that Oscar he got for Gladiator. It's great. But Terminator 2 did something that I think I can only recall in my head of two like guaranteed instances where the sequel is better than the original. That like never happens. Terminator 2 and Empire Strikes Back are the two definitive like better than the first. And the first one out.
Shouldn't have brought up Star Wars. You just walked into a
No. That went over my head. The entire
I'm a Star Wars fanatic, dude.
Yeah, we're glad you weren't here last week because we completely. It was Bullet versus Star Wars, and it got.
Oh, I need like an hour to go on. Why
it was a sweep. It was a sweep. Bullet just decimated it.
Which Star Wars was it? Was it Empire Strikes Back?
77. It was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the first one.
It's fine. It's a good.
But as far as the better sequels, I would go with the Two Towers.
Yeah.
For instance, that would be a better one. Crap.
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Yeah. Aliens. Another one.
Yeah,
Like, there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, if we're talking Star
I know we
Wars,
said it earlier, but
yeah.
they're almost like separate.
Believe me, we're not talking Star Wars. There's
No.
3%. We're not talking Star Wars.
No.
Yeah, dude. No, but as far as the second one, I think Attack of the Clones, if you're separating the sequel, I think Attack of the Clones is the better movie of that trilogy.
See, I actually really like Phantom Menace. I just remember the pod racing scene being so fun. like so cool as a kid. I don't know. Empire Strikes Back is my all-time favorite movie because it's the one movie that I see no flaws with. Character growth, it's a great story, one of the best plot twists in cinematic history, the whole 9 yards with it. So I absolutely love that film. But Terminator 2 is really, really close for me as far as like things to do it. I will say Lord of the Rings, I don't count The Two Towers as a sequel because to me it feels like those movies, that's one really big movie that they had to break up into chunks. That because like if I'm going to sit and watch it, I can't just sit and watch one Lord of the Rings. I have to just take 12 and a half hours out of my day and watch all of them. And that's what it takes. Fair warning, if you ever want to rant, ask me about The Hobbit. Take about 2 hours of your life, set it aside, and let me just bitch about The Hobbit because I will go on forever.
You will love forever about everything, Ryan.
One problem with the biggest plot twist in history. I live in a Dutch town, and Vader in Dutch means father.
Father, yeah.
So
most people don't know his goggles are actually red. The camera quality when they first originally filmed it was so poor that you couldn't see the red tint in the goggles. You could actually see his eyes in the 4K re-release because it actually picks up the red tint.
Gladiator moves on 3-2. Will be facing Fast 5 as well in the next round.
My favorite Star Wars movie is
None, because you never watched
No, hang on. My favorite Star Wars movie will be the very, very fucking last one they ever made because it is just that bad.
You got a
My
long
favorite
ways
Star
to
Wars
go. They're
movie?
making some money off of those. I don't think they're ever stopping, man.
Right.
My favorite Star Wars
Grogu's gonna
movie
be
of
a
all
baby
time?
Forever.
My favorite Star Wars movie of all time is Spaceballs.
Okay, Spaceballs is great.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
Mine. Gladiator moves on 3-2, facing Fast 5 in the next round. From Russia with Love faces V for Vendetta. That's 3-2 and 4-1. Looks like I start us off, and we have Mission Impossible: Ghost Recon, which, believe it or not, is like the top ranked movie of that entire series. I don't know how, but it was. Versus Ben-Hur, 1959. I find it funny as an atheist. I will be going with Ben-Hur on this one. It's a biblical story, but it's a damn good movie as well. I don't even think Mission Impossible: Ghost Recon is the best one of the series. Which
I'm gonna say like the first or second one would be.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but Ben-Hur gets my vote and probably a ruining of a sweep. Jess, is it Ben-Hur or Mission Impossible: Ghost Recon?
I'm going to go with Mission Impossible, even though it's not the best one.
It does have a good theme song to it, though. Q.
You saying bend her or
Ben-Hur.
Ben.
like Ben, no D?
Is BENHUR.
That's a different movie. That's from
Yeah.
the French Connection down the street.
Yeah, no.
It's a double feature.
Just don't pull a Paul Rubens, whatever you do.
That's right. Oh man, that's just funny as hell. Since it's not bend over or bend her over, I'm gonna go with the other one, Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible gets a vote. Ryan.
So I actually don't like Ben-Hur. I know it's overall people love the film.
Oh,
I
Ben-Hur,
don't.
God.
I got bored with it. And I like older action films. And I actually think Fallout is my favorite of the Mission Impossible movies. I think the action's great. I know that the stunts are all done by Tom Cruise. I think he does a great job with them. And that one recocking of the arms from Henry Cavill in the bathroom scene was actually an accident because they shot it so many times his arms were getting sore. But God, it looks badass. And so that kind of that moment set Henry Cavill was awesome. Plus, it's the whole reason we ended up with a mustache in Justice League. So I'm going to go with Fallout.
His mustache, by the way, on a future episode during June, we're doing a men's health type month type thing. And his mustache makes it into one of those brackets.
Ooh, okay.
Just the mustache. We're doing a bracket of movie mustaches. And yes, his bracket makes it into the bracket. The number one seed, by the way, on that one is of course Sam Elliott.
Wait, really? Wait, did
From
they remake
Tombstone.
the PI
Oh,
movie?
that's a
It
mustache.
it's from
mustache.
Tom Selleck is in there as far as the TV. I had to put him and the guy from Parks and Rec.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in there as well because his mustache. Ned Flanders is in there. Yosemite Sam is in there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's 32 of them. No, more than that. There's like 36 of them. So it should be a.
You got to add. Who was it? Why am I drawing a blank? Russell. Why am I drawing this? Hateful Eight.
Not Crow.
No.
Russell?
Kurt Russell. Yeah.
Kurt Russell. His mustache in the Hateful Eight is awesome.
Yeah,
He
that's a
comes
good
down
one.
to that full like beard. Oh, it's great.
Very
I know-
Yosemite Sam like. Yeah.
Mhm.
I know Kurt Russell's in it. I don't know if it's for that movie or not. If I remember right, go to Bracketology. If you guys wondering out there in Spotify land, go to Bracketology.
I'll invite you to it on Facebook, Ryan.
The list should be on the page somewhere. It's not on featured anymore because it got done, but it will be coming up. And it's one of the future brackets. As soon as video game series is done, that would be the bracket coming up after that one. So it is a. Ryan, you went with Mission Impossible on that one.
Yep.
So that is a third vote for Mission Impossible. Brian.
This is gonna sound like a total movie snob kind of move, but the color grading in Mission Impossible, the Bourne Identity, anytime they go to like a foreign land, the color, I don't know who does the color grading, but it takes me completely out of it. It looks different. I don't like it, and I don't know why. So I'm gonna go Ben-Hur.
Ben-Hur gets a vote. It is 3-2.
It's always a
Mission Impossible Ghost Recon faces Taken in the next round. Both of them are split votes at 3-2. Jeff starts us off. We have Dirty Harry from 1971 versus RoboCop 1987.
RoboCop.
Gets a vote. I will be going with Dirty Harry on this one. If I remember right, Dirty Harry has the entire "Go ahead, make my day."
Oh, that's
Line.
iconic.
Yeah.
He's
Entire.
with everybody.
Is that
Are
the
you
one
feeling
where,
lucky?
Yeah, is that the one where he says there's 6 shots and I fired 5? Now you're thinking, yeah, it's the do you feel lucky today?
It's like,
now,
did
now
he
you're
fire
thinking-
5 or
yeah.
6?
Yeah, that's the line. Yeah.
So now you're thinking to yourself, do I feel lucky?
You
Well,
punk.
Do you?
yeah, it's a damn good line. It's a damn good movie. The line alone will be getting my vote off this. RoboCop. As a wrestling fan, I loved back.
Did you just bring up RoboCop and WCW?
I did.
He helped Sting. He did help Sting. He would have got hurt.
It was one of the dumbest product placements ever. The only worst product placement was recently in AEW. There was a hardcore match where there was a death match wrestler. I can't remember his name offhand, but was cutting John Moxley's face with a pizza cutter.
And then they did
And then the next advertisement was for Pizza Hut.
Marketing.
It wasn't planned.
Marketing at its finest.
Oh god.
It was hilarious. Anyway, Dirty Harry gets my vote. Jeff, Dirty Harry of RoboCop.
I voted first.
Oh, sorry.
You voted second for some fucking reason.
Because I'm looking at the board wrong. Anyway, Q, RoboCop, Dirty Harry. I will cross mine off. RoboCop gets a vote.
Good show.
Ryan, RoboCop or Dirty Harry.
So part of the
I'm gonna
direction
go
of the track-
Dirty Harry. RoboCop was a cool, fun film at the time, but if you watch it now, I don't think it really, really holds up very well. But Dirty Harry, you could watch that all day long, man, and it holds up. So I gotta say, Dirty Harry.
Well, it's Ryan's vote, but that's all right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry.
No,
Brian,
it's
Ryan.
It's Brian, dude. That's my bad. Brian, is it Dirty Harry or RoboCop?
So I almost should have to obstruct here. It's going to be RoboCop. I actually play. I don't know if you guys, anybody's a big Mortal Kombat fan, but I play Mortal
Pretty
Kombat
sure.
professionally. I actually just got back from Evo in August,
Nice.
and I 2 weeks ago I fought in the PlayStation North America Opens, and I finished.
You didn't win,
North
just so
America,
you know.
13th in North America with RoboCop. So that kind of refueled my love for it. I recently watched him again, and lines like, just the like, "You're under arrest, dirtbag," and the way the line is delivered by the actor is so well done. The crime does not pay. Like, he sounds so robotic, and it's such a wonderful performance.
He does a good job.
Yeah, and Red gets his arm blown off from that '70s show. So I love that. I love that movie. It's the most '80s action movie, RoboCop, for me.
I do think if I had a battle between RoboCop and like Judge Dredd, I think Judge Dredd is a better movie than from RoboCop. It's the same thing in premise, but anyway, RoboCop gets Ryan vote. Brian, RoboCop, Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry. You guys heard my reason before. Sorry, didn't mean to step on toes there, guys.
And mine as well. I will be
stubby.
I will be going with Dirty Harry.
Oh,
RoboCop moves on in a split vote, 3-2. We'll be facing Crank in the next round. Q starts us off. We have Scarface, 1983, versus Face Off, 1997.
say hello to my little friend. And I do have a scar on my face, so we're going with that.
You got to talk to Jess about your little friend.
The French
She
connection.
likes saying hello to her.
He's coming back.
Ryan, Scarface, Face Off.
I'm gonna go Face Off. The way that Nick Cage and John Travolta are able to almost like swap characters, and they do it so well with each other. It's really hard to do and a really fun movie. So Face Off for me.
Face Off gets a vote. Brian,
Who do I trust? Me. That's who. Got to go Scarface all the way.
Scarface gets a vote. Scarface also gets to win. Scarface also gets to win because he'll be getting my vote as well. The entire "Say hello to my little friend" is one of the most iconic lines from any movie.
It really is.
It's quotable even for the people who have never seen it.
Right, which does make sense. It's like, how you gonna quote something you haven't seen?
Because it's
just
so
that
far
good.
it's so far into pop culture that it's just what it is. Gets my vote. Jess, is it Face Off or Scarface?
Scarface.
In a 4-1 victory, Scarface will be facing Ready Player One in round 2. Ryan starts us off, and we have Matrix 1999 versus Raging Bull 1980.
Raging Bull is amazing, but The Matrix is just so iconic and gave us the wonderful Keanu Reeves. So I'm going to go Matrix. Plus, it's a biblical allegory. I did a whole paper on it in college, and the symbolism behind it. It's great.
Well, it didn't give us Keanu Reeves. That was Speed and Point Break.
But it gave me like the Keanu Reeves that I remember, because that's the one I didn't even remember him from Bill and Ted, which is bummer because he's so good at like being comedic. But that was my Keanu Reeves like birth.
I feel like he has stages in his career where you feel like he should have fell off, and then he just comes up with a whole new franchise and a whole new thing. Like after The Matrix, you would have thought he would have been kind of done for a while, and then John Wick just blows up, and he gets a whole nother franchise out of that. Yeah, he's a good guy. Sorry, good actor.
Well,
It's a genuine guy.
Yeah, he is. Made it pretty far in the Hollywood Nice bracket that we just did, which Robin Williams won that one, by the way, for the people out there.
Who did?
Robin Williams.
Aw. Did he
beat out?
Did he get his sleep all the way through that?
No, Robin Williams beat out Ryan Reynolds in the finals. But the real matchup was the semifinal matchup. It was between him and Mr. Rogers. And that was
Jack
a
Black
one.
making waves up there too.
Who?
Jack Black.
I don't think he was on it. No.
Nope.
Oh, man. Super nice guy.
The vote between Robin Williams and Mr. Rogers was a 1-vote decision. So
I'm personally surprised Ryan Reynolds made it that far. Like, I know it seems like everything. I think he's a down low a-hole. Like, I get that vibe from him. Like, he hasn't got caught yet, but soon.
I think Ryan Reynolds made it through on looks alone. He did beat out Hugh Jackman though, which would equal him on looks, and he's a nice guy. So like I don't know how that happened, but
I mean, I get it. If I was ever going to try and go on a date with a guy, it'd be Ryan Reynolds. Like I'm a happily married man. If he asked me out to dinner, I'd be like, honey, I'm gonna go out with Ryan Reynolds.
He's on your list.
Yeah, no, he's on my freebie list.
He's on his Triple X bucket list.
Well, we have a French connection. We could.
oh.
Gone to a
Anyway, Brian, Raging Bull or Matrix?
This is killing me because De Niro, Scorsese. I love Scorsese. I think he's one of the best directors. He's the crap. But if we're talking action, we're talking what an action movie is. You got to say The Matrix, man. It covers all the bases. It hits every checkpoint as far as action goes. Matrix.
I am going to give Matrix the win on this one. It's a damn good movie. Keanu Reeves does a fantastic job in it. The entire futuristic part of that, and it actually makes people question if it's a legitimate, because the theory behind this is a legitimate theory. Yeah, it's a legitimate theory that they put some serious money.
Simulation or a simulation of some sort.
Yep, and they put some serious money behind it. The theory on this states that once we get to the point that we can do something like this, the sim starts over, which would explain how the world is billions of years old, but we only have a time period back to like a certain point, and there's like nothing before that. So there's that.
We have it's like what? I think the latest I've heard so far is like what 20-something thousand years the humans have been here.
Yeah, something along those lines. So it's at 20,000 years, and the Earth is billions of years old.
So we're told.
Yeah, so we're told. Anyway, The Matrix gets my vote and the win on that one. Jess, what is yours?
The Matrix.
Gets another one. And Q, finish this out.
Oh, sorry, Q.
The Matrix kind of sucks, dicks. I don't like it. I mean, I understand the theory behind it. It's cool. I just do not like The Matrix.
And The Matrix don't like you.
I don't know. I didn't care for it. So I'm going with the Raging Bull.
Raging Bull gets a vote. It is 4-1.
Another
Matrix.
great movie in that same vein is Vanilla Sky. If you guys, it's kind of like the same a program that he's living. Tom Cruise, Penelope Cruz. I don't know if you guys seen a great movie. One of my top 5 for sure.
Yeah, I know they weren't like paired up together, but I think a great matchup would have been Raging Bull versus The Wrestler, because they are so similar in like context and vein. Also, Mickey Rourke, never loved him as an actor. Phenomenal in that one.
No. Matrix moves on 4-1, faces Drunken Master in the next round. 3-2 and 4-1. This is the matchup that I was talking about before. Brian starts us off. We have Hardcore Henry versus The Raid.
I got to go Hardcore Henry, like just for action alone. That's like non-stop action. We talked about Old Boy in the Korean one where he fights the 7,000 guys in one scene. That's the whole movie for Hardcore Henry. So yeah, if you were talking action, hands down, Hardcore Henry.
As I said before, like I made this matchup intentionally difficult because I put Hardcore Henry in here as a kind of a favorite of myself. It's a little bit of perk that I get. I will be going for Hardcore Henry on this one over The Raid. The Raid is a damn good movie. Everybody out there that's going to give me shit for going with Hardcore Henry on this one, I'm not going to apologize, but I will tell you that The Raid is a damn good movie. So there's that. Hardcore Henry gets my vote. Jess, what is yours?
I'll second that.
I texted Jess at the beginning of this, and I'm like, I already know what the winner's going to be.
Hardcore Henry's the dark horse. Look at him running. He's in it.
Q, Hardcore Henry or The Raid?
So back in the day, me and my nephew and one of our good friends, we used to play this game called Champions Return to Arms on PlayStation 2. And when we go into like a room after killing like the bosses or whatever, we just go raid all the way through until we looted everything, just because we were just raiding the shit out of the room. So I'm going with raid just for that.
And he still continues to do that every time he's at his parents'
Yeah,
house.
when I go to my parents' house, I open the freezer back, raid.
It's like Pac-Man.
Nom, 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 nom.
Ryan, finish this out.
So I keep a top 10 list of films of all time. The Raid
He really
Redemption
does, too. He showed it.
on my all-time list.
Is it
I
laminated?
love
It
that
is.
movie. I've
For him to everything.
I've had it for like 8 years, and I update it. Movie has to be like in my mind for 6 months before it makes the list. And The Raid Redemption is some of the best action I've ever seen. It made me get into foreign films, and it actually changed the way action movies were done. It was the death of shaky cam. It was so good that the new Dread movie that came out in 2014 is almost a shot-for-shot remake of Raid Redemption with an IP that people recognize tagged across the top of it. It is phenomenal, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say that I have that exact movie queued up and paused down at the house because the moment this is over, I'm showing it to my mom. It is on pause. Right
So
there.
The Raid gets a vote. Jess,
That movie.
you said before that you're going to second that comment. What comment were you talking about?
But
Were you agreeing with Freddie
I
or?
was agreeing with you, Freddie. Yeah.
Okay, because the reason I say that is that this is a split vote, and Hardcore Henry moves on over The Raid, and it shocks the fuck out of me. But it will be facing Old Boy in the next round. Last up in this entire bracket, I start us off, and we have Predator, 1987 versus The Rock, 1986.
Dwayne Johnson or?
It's Cage and Connery on that one.
So there's no Dwayne Johnson.
No,
Then how do you have The Rock in there?
because that's the name of the damn movie,
It
dumbass.
was
Oh,
only a pebble
Wait,
back
there's a
then.
movie about a rock?
So that's back then.
Is it a pet rock?
The Rock gets my vote on this one.
An hour later.
The Rock gets my vote on this one. Jess, what is yours?
What's The Rock going against?
Predator, 1987
I'm going to hit The Rock.
gets another vote. Q.
All right, so this one here, I have to go with it just because of my cousin's dog, Jake.
I know it.
So he was a boxer. So he had, these nice, like little floppy chops, or whatever. I'd probably do it with him, but he's not going to let me do it. But anyways, I would take the top of his, his top lip and, lift it up. And I would just be like, Predator. Because, it fucking had, the weird-looking face. Yeah, all these guys probably couldn't see it very well in the camera view there. But I'm going with Predator just for that reason. Just because it was funny. That
Q
dog
would love you. Ryan, Predator, The Rock.
So I'm gonna go with The Rock. I think The Predator as an action movie has a great opening scene. It's very, very 80s action. But The Rock is the semblance of that time era of crazy action movies. And one of Nick Cage's more toned down actor performances, not I'm weird, which I love the weird, Nick Cage. But The Rock's just a lot of fun for me, and I think I'm gonna go with it.
So is this a wild rock that comes to life and kills people? Or what is this? What is this rock?
Nick Cage is escaping the
It's Alcatraz, the rock.
Alcatraz.
Oh, okay, there we go. That's all you had to say. Alcatraz. We're good.
Yeah, it's an all right movie. There's the only problem with this movie is that Nicolas Cage, since he's not as excited in this movie as other movies, he's the entire Rocket Man line could have been done a whole lot better. I would love to see like the Con Air character, how he did the character in Con Air in The Rock instead. The entire, well, that's me. Sorry, that's you. You're the Rocket Man. It's so deadpan.
Yeah.
That's such an icon. It should have been an iconic line.
No charisma behind it.
There's
It was just
nothing behind it.
Yeah.
No
And
emotion, nothing.
It's what the entire movie is being built up to.
And he just
this-
says it like he's
just
literally
says it.
reading the script.
Just says it in such a deadpan way. I'm like, are you high? Like, are you seriously high right now? Because there's no way you could do that line with like no inflection.
And how did the director
Whatsoever.
let that go?
You're the
Like
Rock.
I would be like, that's the line. We got to do it again. Like I don't care if you're Nicolas Cage or not. Like give me something.
It's a damn good movie though, and I'm not a huge fan of Predator. So, Brian, finish this out.
I don't understand how you could vote against the former governor of Minnesota, Jesse the Body Ventura. I don't understand. No, but I got to go The Rock. The Predator is a great movie, but as far as action goes, The Rock from beginning to end, it's fun. It has a lot of great action. It's nonstop. Where Predator, you get a lot of drawn out moments, a lot of stalking, a lot of that kind of stuff. So I got to go with The Rock.
Alcatraz is very expensive for upkeep.
The scariest
They
thing in
think that's
Predator,
where they
though,
built it on the ocean with salt.
the
Water.
scariest thing in Predator, though, is the fact that guy is sitting there dry shaving.
Yeah.
Bro, I do that all the time.
Honestly, I think Predators, the sequel from years and years later, is personally my favorite Predator movie. I think it's really an underrated film.
Which one was that one?
The second
Adrian
one.
Brody. It was a 2011 or 2012. They get dropped out of crates and they don't know where they are.
Oh, is that where they're on a planet?
They're
That's kind of
on
like
the Predator
yeah,
homeworld
that is a really
planet.
good one.
Yeah, really. Kind of starts with a cast too.
Yeah,
I like
the
ADT
new
personally.
the newest one, Prey, that's on Hulu.
Also
it's a
great.
really good one. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's one of the better ones for me.
The Rock moves on.
Predator.
The Rock moves on 4-1. We'll be facing 300 in the next round, 3-2. We'll be right back right after this break. Ryan, do you have an ad for us?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ryan with GG Productions. If you guys have any interest in promoting your businesses, we'll be talking a commercial ad, marketing materials, you want short social media posts, please reach out to us at ggproductions.org. We make sure we give high quality content for your everyday user and stuff that even small streamers can afford, as we always want to help people grow together. So please give us a shout. Check us out on at GG Pro Network on Twitter, or me personally at GG Pro Copper. And thank you guys again for allowing us to be on the show and have fun and interact. We're huge film buffs over there too. So
Anytime. Like I said, we have a laundry list of shows coming up, and I'm pretty sure Jess has a copy of that. So we'll go ahead and go from that. Everybody ready to start round 2?
yeah.
I'm waiting for Q. Apparently, Jess.
Quentin's getting food because apparently he's hungry. We're good.
All right. Welcome back for round 2. Jess will be starting us off on this one, and we have V for Vendetta 2005 versus From Russia with Love 1963.
I'm gonna go with Russia with Love.
Going against her age sake on that one. Q from Russia with Love.
Your band is true.
I never thought of that, actually. Ryan from Russia with Love or V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta, for sure.
Get another one. Brian.
Remember, the 5th of November, got to go V for Vendetta.
gets Brian's vote and my vote. It is a 4-1. V for Vendetta moves on to the next round. Q starts us off. We have Mission Impossible Ghost Recon moving on 3-2 versus Taken, another 3-2.
I'm about to go with I don't know. I personally like Taken better than I did Mission Impossible, so I'm going with Taken.
Taken gets a vote. Brian.
I think Brian makes a really, really good point when he talks about that color grading. And that's definitely something I notice. It happens in every mountain range when they go to foreign movies or foreign locations. But I think the content and the action itself made for one of my favorite recent action films. So I'm sticking with Mission Impossible.
Brian.
Mission Impossible. What was the other one? I'm sorry.
Taken.
I'm gonna go Taken just because I just kind of enjoyed Taken a little more than the Mission Impossibles. They're kind of in that same vein. They both have that color grading. As soon as they jump over to Europe and he's chasing everyone around, that color grading pops up. But I sure Taken for me.
I'm gonna stick with Taken as well on this one. I'm not a huge fan of that particular Mission Impossible movie. And Taken is a damn good movie you can start with. So Jess finishes out.
I'm going with Taken.
And a 4-1, Taken moves on to the next round. Ryan starts us off. We have Ready Player One from 2018 going 3-2 versus Scarface from 1983 going 4-1.
So I'm going to go Scarface. Both of these were ones I voted against. That being said, I've seen one. I haven't seen Scarface in a long, long time, but I feel like if you haven't seen Scarface, you still know what that movie is about and everything goes. Where Ready Player One at times felt like it was just a way to kind of flash, oh, hey, remember this franchise? Where Scarface is just the franchise that Ready Player One would remind people of.
I'm pretty sure there's Ready Player One mentions Scarface
They might.
in the book too. So, yeah. Scarface gets Ryan's vote. Brian, Scarface, Ready Player One.
I gotta go the same reason. I think we talked about it earlier. I put Ready Player One in that same kind of action category as you would the Goonies and that kind of. And for me, I mean, it's action, but it's kind of slips through the cracks, I guess. So I got to go Scarface because I mean, that's definitely action. You got machine guns, cocaine, and naked ladies dancing. I mean, that's everything an action movie is. So.
I'm going to prevent a sweep on this one. Ready Player One gets my vote. I love the action of this movie. I love, as Ryan was talking about, I love the callbacks to different things. You can spend a lot of time freeze framing that one and just kind of looking in the background of all the different characters and stuff. And as a fan of pop culture, even 80s pop culture, I absolutely love that movie for that purpose. But it's a good storyline. It's a good end result too, and it's one of the few movies where I like the movie more than the book, and that's actually kind of saying something. So Ready Player One gets my vote. Jess.
It wouldn't have been a sweep anyways because I'm going with Ready Player One.
Which also means it is a tie-breaking decision coming down to Q. Is it Scarface or Ready Player One?
Which I think is really funny that you said you're going to prevent the sweep, and then Jess goes with it, and then me. Ready Player One is a gamer's fantasy. It really would be. You can do anything you possibly want. It's literally your own world along with everybody else. But I'm saying you can do what you want, be who you want to be, all that other shit. It's literally you can just go in and be like, all right, what game do I want to play today? And there's every game you could ever think of, and it's virtual reality. You're literally there. If you have enough money, you can buy the suits and stuff, so you actually feel the hits, feel getting touched, all that good shit. Giggity. But so I'm gonna go with Ready Player One. That and the whole idea of a 360 treadmill is kind of cool. I mean, which they actually have that, I believe, over in other parts of the world. I don't think we have them here in America yet, do we?
No, we don't. We have a similar one. It isn't a treadmill. I went to an arcade and they had them set up. It's kind of like a plastic base that kind of goes down a little bit and it moves. It isn't like a treadmill per se. It moves as you move. So you can run. It's more like you're sliding. Yeah, you're sliding more than treadmilling.
Okay, that's cool.
That was pretty fun.
Ready Player One with a complete turnaround on that one over Scarface. It goes 3-2.
Damn.
The
Brian
comeback.
starts us.
Uh-huh.
Brian starts us off on this one, and we have Old Boy moving on 3-2 against Unleashed as 2003 versus Hardcore Henry, another 3-2 from 2015.
So who is Hardcore Henry versus Old Boy? Is that what
Yep.
ooh. Oh man.
Nobody has blown their load, by the way.
Yeah. That's a hard one, man.
He said.
I was gonna blow my load for Raid Redemption, but I was already going last. I almost asked, "Can I blow my load to go first?" Like, just so I could talk about the raid first and try to swing some votes. But
oh man, it is action, and that's what we got to base this on.
We don't have to base on anything. There's no rhyme or
you
reason
can
about
base
this
it.
at
You
all.
can base it on anything you want to, dude. If Old Boy touched you funny and you don't want to, if you don't want to vote for that one, that's your own thing. Like,
Yeah, those records are sealed. What are we doing?
Hey, they're apparently not sealed, man. I found one. He's found one.
I just mentioned
It's
it.
only a matter of
I
time
was,
for these two to get it, you know. So
I was reaching for straws. Apparently, so was Old Boy.
Yeah. I was a heavy kid, so he told me to go lose some weight and come back. No. Anyway, I'm gonna go Hardcore Henry because I think I'm gonna be the voice of reason on this one. I'm gonna go Hardcore Henry.
I am going to agree with Hardcore Henry on that one. As far as action for action goes, it is a complete, from beginning to end, it is a point of view movie where you are in the driver's seat. You are in the seat of this person's head and be able to watch this. It's kind of like a being John Malkovich type thing too, every once in a while, but this is directly from like the point of view, and it's just absolutely crazy. Only issue with this is if you're going to watch this movie, sit the fuck down when you're doing it, because it will almost make you throw up. To that point, it will affect you that hard. Hardcore Henry gets my vote. Jess.
Hardcore Henry.
who doesn't like a little throw up?
Yeah.
With the win on that one, Q.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Old Boy, just because I have lots of memories being like, hey, I'm gonna go see Old Boy real quick. Not Homeboy, Old Boy. So I mean, full of different reasons, but.
And Ryan finishes out.
You know what? I think Brian will agree with me on this one. If this was the original Old Boy, it would have got my vote. But since it's the American version, I'm going to go Hardcore Henry because it's just such a fun film.
4-1, Hardcore Henry moves on. I start us off. We have Fast 5 versus Gladiator. Both of these are split votes. Fast 5 from 2011, Gladiator from 2000. I don't like. As far as action goes, I think Fast 5 has more action to it, but the storyline isn't there, and the storyline kind of makes the action feel important. So Gladiator will be getting my vote for that particular reason. Jess.
I'm gonna go with Fast 5.
It gets a vote. Q.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Freddie. To me, like the Fast and the Furious movies, like when they first started, like the first two roughly, it was about something completely different than the direction it actually went. I mean, they try to, keep doing, same like principles, like, family first type thing, stuff like that. But I'm saying like it literally goes from them running from the cops and outsmarting them to being the cops, being the detectives. It's just kind of like, that's not what I was, expecting out of the movies. I feel like they kind of got away from like the original like storyline maybe a little bit and just kind of was like, what can we do to add more action in here to get more people to watch it, I guess. I don't know. So I'm going to say those kind of started falling off after, so long, like from the original storyline. So I'm going to go with Gladiator myself.
Gladiator gets a vote. Ryan, Gladiator, Fast 5.
I'm going to go Gladiator. I think it between T2 was such a tight vote for me, like such a hard choice, that Gladiator's pretty high up on my list. So I'm gonna keep going with it.
And Brian, finish us out.
Yeah, Q brought up a really good point. How do you go from stealing DVD players, hijacking trucks, to now they're superheroes? Like the John Cena fight, they're punching through walls, and I'm like, you were 10 years ago you were stealing DVD players. Now you're punching through walls like you're a superhuman guy. Yeah, they just taken it way too far. So I'm gonna go Gladiator.
They flew a taped up car into space, drove into a satellite, ate Tootsie Rolls for 2 weeks, and then landed it. What?
Well, don't forget they jumped a Lamborghini from skyscraper to skyscraper. In Dubai. Come on.
The craziest part of the entire movie is, I think in the most recent one, where Tyrell gets like surrounded by people with AK-47s, and he just goes, "I'm gonna die like a champ," and goes out and just starts like shooting 2 AKs at the same time, and they all shoot at him. They're like 10-15 yards away, and when he gets done killing all of them, he goes, "How did I not get shot?" And he has holes where all the bullets just cut through his shirt, just around him. And he
They're mocking it at this
I think I'm unkillable. I don't think I can die. And I'm like, no, acknowledging doesn't make it okay, movie. No.
Okay, sometimes I think it's really funny when a movie does that, but it has to be the right kind of movie. To break that, to break that wall, where you're no longer really talking to the movie, you're actually talking to the audience. Like, yeah, we know. Like, we don't give a shit though.
You know what drives me crazy in those movies is like they never run out of bullets. But the moment that it's 1-on-1 and he goes to kill him, he's out of bullets. You just went 45 minutes without running out of bullets.
That's why he's out. He went 45 minutes without. He used them all previously. He forgot to keep one in the chamber. All right, he forgot to keep one in the chamber.
That clip in his back pocket.
I hate that movie.
The most atrocious thing about Fast 5 is the fact they thought that Ronda Rousey could act.
Oh
God.
I like Ronda Rousey too, but
yeah, that was bad.
You know who's like Ruby Rose? I know she was the.
Oh, dude, she's phenomenal.
She was horrible. She's a horrible actress. I'm sorry. In John Wick, they actually made her deaf so she wouldn't have to talk. That's how bad of an actress she is.
Batwoman.
Anyway, Gladiator moves on. We'll be facing V for Vendetta. Both of them are 4-1 matchups. Jess starts us off. We have Crank moving on in a sweep versus RoboCop, 3-2.
I'm gonna do Crank.
Crank gets a vote. Q, are you with us?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm
Crank,
voting
RoboCop.
Crank for an entirely different reason than everybody else, but Crank.
Gets a vote. Ryan, RoboCop, Crank.
I'm gonna go RoboCop. I think it's just too much 80s fun not to.
Brian.
I gotta go Crank because the French Connection has all the Crank guys. No, Crank as far as action movies go, from not like we said, Hardcore Henry, it's a similar one to that. You're not in a POV, but like from beginning to end, you know what needs to happen. He's shocking himself. He's running in the power lines. He's doing whatever he needs. So yeah, as far as action goes, man, that thing's nonstop. I gotta go Crank.
It's nice now y'all are preventing me from hitting up my French Connection right now.
He's on a time. He's like, come on, where are you at?
Craig moves on 4-1. We'll be facing Taken in the next round. Jess starts us off. Wait.
Just started that one.
Yeah, Jess just started that one off. So Q starts us off on this one. We have Drunken Master from 1994 versus The Matrix from 1999.
Drunken Master
gets a vote. Ryan.
I just love the whole fight scenes in it. He has to be wasted.
Iconic.
It's funny.
So go Matrix.
Okay. Q was talking over you. What did you say?
I said Drunken Master's fun, but The Matrix is iconic. And so I'm going to go with The Matrix.
It gets Ryan vote. Brian, Drunken Master, Matrix.
Q is right. Like as far as Drunken Master, like it's hilarious. Jackie Chan plays a great drunk guy. But The Matrix, man, like from beginning to end, that's a great movie. Taking away the sequels, by itself, it's really good. So I got to go Matrix.
I'm gonna go with Matrix too. It is Matrix as well. It's a whole new kind of action movie for its time, and it brought on a whole bunch of different stuff like that. So I'm gonna go with Matrix. Jess, finish this up.
Matrix.
And 4-1, Matrix moves on. We'll be facing Ready Player One in the next round. I love that matchup. Q starts us off. Ryan starts us off. We have finishing up this round. We have 300 moving on 3-2 versus The Rock moving on 4-1.
So I actually voted for The Rock in the last one. I didn't vote for 300, but I think comparatively, I like 300 more. The Rock's fun and a good time, and the slowdown is a bit much, but something I didn't mention in the first one, the use of vignettes in that movie is really well done, and vignette in editing, for anyone who's out there who likes to edit and stuff, it's a really fine line from overuse and underuse with a tool like that. So I think they do it really well, so I'm going to go with 300.
Brian?
Oh, I totally agree. 300. You know, they really used. You don't. I went to film school and did all that, and they teach you that voiceover. No, don't do voiceover as far as like telling a story. It's showbiz. It's not tell biz. But they do a great job in 300 with the voiceover and showing the action and kind of flashing back. They do an excellent job. They say you got to know the rules to break them, and that's Zack Snyder, right? Zack Snyder did that.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Zack Snyder did an excellent job on that. It went against the rules, but it stands out and it paid off. So I got to go 300.
The sequel's kind of underrated too.
Yeah.
300 gets a vote. I will be also going with 300 on this one. As a history buff, I love it for that reason. The action, love it for that reason. The spoof, Meet the Spartans, I love it for that reason. There's so many reasons I love this movie, and it will be getting my vote and the win. Jess, what's your vote?
What is 300 going against?
The Rock
Yeah, I'm going to go 300.
gets another one. Q, 300 to The Rock.
So I had this really weird thing happen to me yesterday. Someone was at the door, and I was really hesitant on answering it, but I was like, "Fuck it!" So I answered the door. You know who it was? It was that damn Loch Ness monster. The weird thing about it is he only has for $3. So I'm gonna have to go 300.
Did you just see your French Connection before you answered the door? That's the question.
300 moves on. We'll be facing Hardcore Henry in the next
in
round.
the other room, actually.
Loch Ness or the French Connection?
Well, at some point, both of us we all ended up in there.
We all float down here.
The final 8 we have are Ready Player One, Gladiator, Taken, 300, Crank, Hardcore Henry, V for Vendetta, and Matrix. We'll be right back right after this last break.
Brady, I'm gonna hardcore your Henry.
I'm so mad the Raid didn't make it farther. I'm so sad about that movie. I love that
Dude,
movie
Raid
so
didn't
much.
make it out of the first round.
I know. I'm depressed about it. I'm starting a new podcast outside of my other one where I haven't got a name for it yet. It's the only reason I haven't released anything yet, is where I talk about hidden gems in films, like small, more
like Easter
underrated
eggs?
films that people don't talk about. Things like
Oh,
Overlord, that was like a J.J. Abrams production. And The Raid is one of those I want to talk about, like your average everyday like person doesn't watch it because it's in Indonesian, but it's so worth it.
Me and Q are actually starting a podcast. It's going to be called IP'd Man, and we're talking about all the places that people. It's a flashback to last week, Ryan. We were reviewing IP Man, and Q's like, IP'd Man, and I can't get it out of my head all week. I've been saying it all week, man.
Right.
Well, you guys will have to join and like guest on there. I got like a handful of films already picked out to talk about. So
Nice.
The Green Room. I'm really looking forward to talking about that one.
What would be your favorite obscure movie, or like what would be your first one?
I peed, man.
I think The Green Room is probably one of like my favorites that people don't know about. I mean, Patrick Stewart plays a neo-Nazi white supremacist. Like, just say that and people watch it. Also, Anton Yelchin, who is an outstanding, phenomenal actor, rest in peace, died way before his prime, is great. He's also in Fright Night, which not a lot of people have seen the Fright Night remake.
Original or remake?
Awesome. The remake, is
yeah.
phenomenal.
It actually is pretty good.
Love it.
Yeah.
And then a couple others. Your Name is an animated film. No one has seen it. It is beautiful. It is so well directed. The story made me cry. It's awesome. I think Overlord is one that people haven't seen. Nazi zombies in a film that has a really good budget and a great story on it, and no one knows what Overlord is.
Yeah.
If you Google it, watch the trailer, and then go watch the movie. It is fantastic. It's actually my 10th favorite movie. I kind of want to talk about RRR. I know it like swept the nation for a short time, but nobody I know has actually watched the movie. It's 3 hours in Hindi, and it should be on this list because it is the best action movie I have ever seen. Like, it is, it makes Hardcore Henry or a fun movie like that, like Crank. It makes Crank look like boring. You got to watch RRR. It's on Netflix. It's like 3.5 hours long, and it's in Hindi with some English. You got to change it to Hindi so actually the British people speak in English, but
So
it's worth it.
the fact that it's 3 hours long, I've already lost interest.
Yeah.
There's
I
a
was
scene
gonna
where
ask
a
you
guy
guys.
gets his legs broken, and so one guy puts him up on his shoulders, and they kung fu fight people while they're on each other's shoulders. At one point, they jump up, and the guy up top grabs onto a bar, and they flip up onto a platform on each other's shoulders. It's so ridiculously awesome. They starve a guy for like 2 weeks, and he's like, yeah, he's going to basically not even be able to stand. And they go in there, and he's just like doing pull-ups, just shredded. It is so fun. The movie's great.
Sounds kinky. You guys ready to start round 3?
Yes.
All right. Cue around. All right. Welcome back, everybody, for round 3. We're not taking any more breaks after this. We will find a winner. Nobody has blown their load. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 matchups left.
You
to
really had
find-
to count that out?
Yeah, because I was sitting there trying to figure out because we have the other winner too. So, looks like Brian starts us off. Yeah, Brian starts us off on this one, and we have V for Vendetta versus Gladiator. Both of these are 4-1 last round.
That's a hard one. That's a really hard one.
Are you gonna
both-
blow your load? Hey, you have a chance to blow your load.
Don't be
Well,
the first one out. Don't be the first one out.
I'm counting. I'm thinking baseball, so I might not. But I can go a little longer. I'm thinking baseball here, guys. No.
Big bull.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but if you have 4 balls, I mean, you can blow your load twice, right?
Both have great storylines. Both have great action. What meant the most to me? I'm gonna say Gladiator. Yeah, I'm gonna say Gladiator. Just from a personal, like what I liked better, just enjoy. Both of them are flawless films. Both of them are great, but I just connected with Gladiator. I think the whole overcoming the odds as a slave, getting back to his family, even though they were dead. That scene where he's in the wheat field with the sun. I mean, yeah, definitely Gladiator.
Gladiator gets a vote. V for Vendetta will be getting my vote on this one. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Looks like Jess is after me. V for Vendetta or Gladiator?
Gladiator.
Gets a vote. It is 2-1. Q.
I'm gonna have to agree with everything Brian said. Yeah, like Gladiator, this is more like there's we're more personally behind it, I guess. Like if you think about it, like coming from like a family man standpoint, anyways.
Yeah.
Final?
What would you do to get back to your family? type
Yeah,
of
well,
thing,
like, you know, like what would you overcome to get back to your family? You know what I mean? Like, how far are you willing to go?
And Ryan, finish this up.
So if I wasn't already going last, I would have blown my load for this one because I really needed some time to sit and think on it, and it is really really close. I'm gonna go Gladiator, which it technically already had the win anyways, but for me, I think it's just a tad more enjoyable. I think V for Vendetta is one of those movies where I kind of need to be in the right mood to watch it because it's kind of has some like sad moments in it. You know, it's a heavy film, and they're both really really heavy. But I think the fact that it's a lot brighter tone in the setting, the way they do lighting in that film, adds a sense of beauty to it that I think gives it maybe a slight edge. But it is the very very close one. This is as close as Terminator 2 and Gladiator was for me.
Gladiator moves on in a 4-1 vote. I start us off. The next one, we have Taken versus Crank. Both of these are 4-1 last round. I think Crank is a lot more fun. I personally, it's a lot. As far as enjoyment of a movie, Taken is the better film. Let's just admit that there's a better storyline and everything else, a better shot. But I think Crank is a lot more fun as far as action movies go. I think the fun factor towards that gets a little bit more sway. So Crank gets my vote. Jess.
I'm going with Taken.
Q.
I don't think I've voted against Taken yet this entire show. So I'm going to say Crank has taken that away from me. So Crank, because yeah, it is more fun, I feel.
Crank gets a vote. Ryan, Crank or Taken?
I'm gonna go Crank. I feel like Taken had so many films that kind of came over trying to copy what it did afterwards that it almost kind of degrades Taken a bit for me because there's a lot of similar films.
Don't forget the sequels.
Yeah, I think Crank's its own thing, and so I think it stands more on its own. So Crank it is.
Well, Crank did have a sequel. It's called Crank High Voltage.
Oh yeah, no, we'll just pretend it doesn't exist.
Well, and as far as all action and no storyline, like High Voltage is just it's absolutely nuts.
Yeah,
it really is.
It went the Fast and Furious route of being stupid.
Yeah, I did.
Like too stupid.
Crank gets the vote and the win on that one. But Brian, what is yours?
You know what? When I think action movies, I think of like waiting in line in the summertime, waiting to see those big movies at the theater with your popcorn.
You and those blockbusters, bro.
Yeah, I know, right? But Crank was up there. I remember waiting in line, seeing it, and enjoying every freaking bit of it. So as far as action goes, I got to go Crank again.
Crank gets a vote. It is 4-1. Moving on to the final four. Jess starts us off. We have Ready Player One versus The Matrix.
I'm going to go with Ready Player One.
It gets a vote. Q.
You know, these are almost kind of similar in a way. You know, The Matrix, living in a video game world, or, living in like a simulation type thing. And according to Ready Player One, how the story goes, that's kind of what everybody did, in that day. Because, well, no one liked actual real world. So,
yeah, but one's a choice and one's not.
True. But, I like free will. Ready Player One.
Ready Player One gets a vote. Ryan.
We go with like Gladiator and V for Vendetta. They're two like similar films, and now we have like Matrix and Ready Player One. I feel like this game's rigged. That's why the raid didn't get out of the first round. But I'm gonna go The Matrix once again. Ready Player One is the kind of movie that needs movies like The Matrix to thrive, and I can't pass up the original.
You can.
Matrix.
Brian, Matrix or Ready Player One?
I haven't voted for Ready Player One yet. Again, it's just hard for me to think of it as an action film, even though there's so much action. It's just, I think it almost folds as part of the story. Kind of like I said, like Goonies and that type of thing.
There's a whole war scene that has to deal with hundreds and hundreds of different kinds of movies.
Yeah, maybe because they're in a computer world, it kind of takes me out of it a little bit as far as like the action.
You must have hate the second Space Jam movie.
You know, we we won't get into that one yet.
No.
I'm gonna go Matrix. Original Space Jam. Oh, I love it. It was in my wheelhouse. But this other one,
I miss my Lola Bunny.
For multiple reasons. That means the tiebreaker comes down to me. These are both similar. They're similar concepts. I do think Ready Player One, there's a lot more to love outside of the actual action to it. I love the historical markers that The Matrix did for the film world, but I love looking back on to the historical markers that Ready Player One represents. I'm not a gamer. Q of all people knows this, but I love looking back and onto that and a whole bunch of different callbacks and stuff. Ready Player One is a much more brighter film too, which also brings the entire fun element into it. The Matrix is just dark and gloomy, and I don't like to include sequels into the entire situation, but the third Matrix movie is probably one of the worst movies of all time. Just period. It is. So Ready Player One will be getting my vote in a 3-2 victory onto the next round.
Let's go!
It's cool to look at like a film that makes history and then a film that celebrates history.
Yeah.
It's a cool comparison.
Jess starts us off on this one. We have 300 versus Hardcore Henry.
300.
We'll be getting a vote. Q
300 is pretty hardcore, so we're going with 300.
gets another one. Ryan.
This is tough because these are both films. I'm going to blow my load.
Oh, Ryan blew his load.
Ryan's the first one out. All right, I can finish. I'm not last. Or first.
I want to think on this one a little bit more.
That's all right. 2 votes for 300 currently. Brian, what is yours?
I love Hardcore Henry. I voted for it both times, but I think 300 is just the better movie overall. Hardcore Henry is kind of niche. It's a cool niche.
But if you're going, and he freezes.
But getting to end multiple times.
That is a perfect freeze frame. There you go.
Yeah.
But if you're going action for action, which is what you've been talking about this entire time, Hardcore Henry is 100% action.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. Yeah, I just, you know what? Like I said, I just got to go 300. I think it's a better film.
And I'm going to try to persuade you a little bit. My vote's going to go for Hardcore Henry. So with Ryan blowing his load, because he can't make a decision, that would make the final decision going on to him after he blew his load.
Told you, sir. The cards.
That's how it works. The last week was my first time, and it seemed like everyone who blew their load ended up having to be the decision maker. Yeah.
So you still going with 300 on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, 300 gets to vote and the win. I will be going for Hardcore Henry, as I said. So Brian saved you on this one. You do not have to make a tie-breaking decision, but what is your vote, 300 or Hardcore Henry?
Yeah, after taking a few minutes to think about it, if he would have went Hardcore Henry would have won this because I love the cinematography and I love, this is a good example for both of them, but I think 300, so many people did the 300 thing. Not as well, admittedly, not nearly as well, but I don't think anyone even attempted the Hardcore Henry thing because of how hard it is to do. And I think they did it well. So I think they would have my edge just because of the hurdles that they would have had to overcome just to get that movie and it still be really good.
Who was the director of Hardcore Henry? It?
I don't even know.
Yeah, it's somebody big. I want to say it's the Hughes brothers, maybe. It was a pretty big. Not like Spielberg by any means, but someone pretty big as far as directors go. I think.
Iowa Noslusher.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe.
Yeah, he's a Russian small-time director.
Nice, good for him.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies too. Hardcore Henry is one of the movies too that nobody really knows about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
because it didn't get a lot of play.
I
It
saw it in theaters.
it's a very niche, as Brian was saying, it's a very niche type
Was it a
movie, and
B-rated movie?
No, it's
I'd
R.
probably C or D, to be perfectly honest.
Oh,
Like
really?
it was,
Damn! I didn't know it went that low.
yeah, it's not something. It's one of those things like get drunk and watch this movie.
Yeah. Calling it
Yeah.
a B movie
I'm too
is
much of a
massive
drinker, though.
compliment.
Yeah.
Like,
If there,
And I
I'll
can't
tell you,
really drink.
if there's any
Hey,
smokers out there, man, so my recommendation would be a heavy sativa, like a green crack or something like that, man, and toke up. You get on the couch, your heart's beating a little bit. This movie, you're gonna will blow your mind.
But you do not recommend
enhance-
the indica for that, right? Because you don't want to be couch locked drooling, right? You just want
Yeah.
you want to be awake, right?
Yeah, definitely. You do maybe a hybrid, like a 60-40, so you're like relaxed, but yeah, your heart's beating a little bit, and then yeah, so you're totally immersed in the movie. Because
Do they even have straight sativas anymore? Or is everything a hybrid now?
No, they have straight sativa. I actually just had some really good green crack. That was, I had to tell it was like crack. I'm like, I smoke a few times a day, and I kept going back to it. I'm like, nope, I need to stop. I need to stop.
Yeah, that stuff is literally like crack. First time it's free, you always come back.
Yep, Asian connection, or no, I'm not the
French
French connection.
I accidentally just let go of my connection. Oh my god! Just
Speaking
kidding,
of going
guys.
French, by the way, we have Jess starting this one out, and we have. I'm gonna let her pick one of these movies. Is it going to be Gladiator, 300, Ready Player One, or Crank? Starting this question off.
Ready Player One.
All right, Ready Player One is facing Gladiator.
Ooh,
I'm going with Ready Player One.
Ready Player One gets a vote. Q.
my balls are so full. I'm gonna have to empty them and blow my load.
Q has started to blow his load on this one. Ryan, Ready Player One or Gladiator?
I have yet to vote for Ready Player One. But once again, like, it keeps going against great movies too. Like, it's not even like it's going against like, oh, this was an iffy one. The movies that I love, and so I'm going to keep the train going. You know, Gladiator's going to lose because I voted for it, but damn it, Gladiator.
Yeah, it beat Ready Player One. Beat out Scarface, Aliens, and The Matrix so far.
I know.
Brian, is it Gladiator or Ready Player One?
I'm jumping on the same train as Ryan. I haven't voted for Ready Player One yet. And not that I hate it or anything. It's a great movie. It's one of those movies where you can always have it on background noise, and you can just jump in and know what it's about. And it's one of those great movies. But I gotta go the opposite direction. What was the? I'm sorry. Gladiator. I gotta go Gladiator. Yeah.
Gladiator gets Brian's vote, and Q knows where I'm going on this one, which means there's going to be a tie-breaking decision coming down to Q. Who blew his load? Is it Gladiator?
Fuck you, Freddy.
Or Ready Player One?
Told you, it happens every time. Every time. It doesn't matter who it is. Gladiator has a lot of seriousness in it. I'm usually not a very serious person. Let's go with Player One.
Ready Player One makes it to this
I'm not going to
week's
hop on the
finals.
bandwagon, all right? I've voted for Player One, I think, every time so far. I'm going to stay in my area. I'm going to stay in my court.
You know,
I'm
crazy.
shocked. Like that big reveal. How come no one else's jaws to the ground? He's not a very serious person. That's a huge reveal, guys. Spoilers.
The crazy part for me is all of the movies that Ready Player One has beat are films that as my kids grow up and be like, hey, we're gonna sit down and watch this because this is like a historical film, like something that
Now you got to add Ready Player One to that.
Yeah.
And Ready Player One's never been on my list. Apparently, I'm just gonna have to reconsider that. It's like
Damn good movie.
watch film.
It really is.
Q finished that one out. He will be starting this one out. We have Crank versus 300.
I'm going with Crank just for the the comedy that's behind it. That's also with it.
Ryan, Crank, 300.
You know, I'm a film editor, and I love that, and I think 300 does that really well. So I'm gonna keep on the 300 train. Go editing.
That's a lot,
Brian.
that's a lot of people. 300? Damn, I hope there's more than one
I know
female.
it's a big train.
That's a hard one. I've been on both of these bandwagons the whole time, so now I got to jump off of one. I'm gonna say Crank. Just as far as action, like I said, that whole summer crazy vibe, and you come out and you're excited out of the movie. And I mean,
One
300.
to shock yourself and electrocute yourself. Yeah, it sounds great.
I threw off all my clothes. I'm running down the street like a madman. No, but yeah, you walk out of 300 feeling a little somber, a little whatever. But when you walk out of Crank, you're like, yeah,
You feel like
ooh.
you just did some crank.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what an action movie should be. So I'm gonna go Crank.
See, I was really hoping Crank would have gone up against Hardcore Henry.
I thought it was gonna. When you
Yeah.
read them off, it sounded like it was gonna. I was like, ooh, that's gonna be a hard one.
I like Hardcore Henry enough that, and I'm bummed to beat the raid because I love the raid, but I would have ran it all the way to the finish line.
How would everyone voted if it was Crank versus Hardcore Henry? Just curious.
Hardcore Henry.
Or yeah, I think I would have been on that same boat.
I'd
Yeah,
agree.
like that's a definite thing. But no, 300 had to move on. I will be going for Crank on this one, which means it will be going into the finals. But Jess, what Crank is it? Is it Crank or 300?
I'm gonna have to go for 300.
3-2.
In a 3-2 vote, it will be facing Ready Player One in the finals for this week. But for third place, looks like Ryan starts this one off. Is it 300 or Gladiator?
Gladiator. 300's great, but and I love the editing side of it. But Gladiator's an all-time film, so Gladiator.
Brian.
Same thing. Gladiator. I think the storylines. We talked about it earlier. The whole getting back to the family, getting revenge, getting your name clear. It really resonates with me. So I got to say, Gladiator.
We haven't mentioned it, but the tiger fight scene.
Oh yeah.
Might be one of my favorite action scenes of all time.
They just come out of nowhere too. Those.
And he whoops that tiger's ass too.
And
Like
it
nothing.
feels. I love how in the way they shoot it as those.
He should have skinned it afterwards and worn his coat.
Feels like you're getting claustrophobic. Like I'm not a claustrophobic guy, but the way they shot that and those tigers coming in, it made me feel like things were closing in on me. That scene in particular is just maybe my favorite in the whole film.
And Russell Crowe's acting in that, some of the choices he made were just excellent. Like the picking up the dirt before he gets to the battle and he smells it and he feels it like he's becoming one with
that wasn't
earth.
in the script. That was just him.
Yeah, that's an amazing add-on to that because that added so much. Like this guy's a grizzled veteran. He's been in many wars. He feels the ground. He knows what to do. Definitely great performance.
With my vote, Gladiator will be getting third place. Jess, what is yours?
Gladiator.
And Q, finish this one out.
He's definitely Gladiator.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, so Gladiator gets a sweep
Nobody?
into third place. First and second, Ryan starts us off on this one, and we have Ready Player One versus Crank.
Okay. Can I vote for the raid?
No.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Hey, if he can do that, I can vote for Jurassic Park right now.
I was gonna comment like Jurassic Park.
No, I'm gonna go Crank. I know I voted against it a few times, and I stand by those votes. But all of them, I can't argue with the fact that Crank is just stupid action fun, right? And I thought something that Brian brought up in the last one, which really kind of pushed it over the top for me, was like, when you leave the theater, my mile goes down by a minute, right? Like I can run a mile faster after seeing that movie than not. Like the amount of heart rate, I have ADHD. I take Adderall for it. Getting out of that movie is kind of the equivalent of when you take your Adderall. That's kind of how it feels when you just jumpstart and get going. So I think that's a good enough argument for me for it to be the winner of this bracket.
Brian.
I never thought that we'd be in the finals with Ready Player One versus Crank of
Craig, I
all-time
know.
action movies. But it's a hard one. I haven't been on the Ready Player One bandwagon at all.
Jump!
Um,
Jump!
yeah, I go back to where, like, to me, a great movie is when you can sit in a movie, and it's stupid to say this because they're both those kind of movies where you don't think of anything else. Like, you're just in the movie. If you're thinking about what you're going to get to dip for dinner after the movie or what you're going to do, that movie has lost you at that point. And, like, when I walked out of Crank, like I said, I was pumped. I was ready to go. When I saw Ready Player One, I was cool. Like, it was a great movie. I'll go see it again, but it didn't have that action. I'm walking out ready to take on the world, yelling at the movie theater usher, "Get your butt in there and clean it," because I'm so jacked up. So I'm going to say Crank. I'm going to have to say Crank.
Crank gets a vote. I would like to reiterate that Brian, Jess, and myself have not blown their load so far in this game. I will be going with Crank, though, giving it the win this week. Jess, what is your vote?
I'm gonna go Ready Player One.
Gets another one. Q, finish this out.
As a gamer, that'd be the ultimate, literally the ultimate, like the first you could possibly go. Outside of it being 100% real, which I don't really want to die and guns fire and shit like that. So, or whatever the hell the case may be. So yeah, Ready Player One, just because that's literally a gamer's fucking ultimate like getaway. Like that'd be the ultimate for the gamer. Couldn't go any further than that.
Crank has won this week in a 3-2 vote against Ready Player One.
And by the way, Brian, Ready Player One, I do actually think about several other things than just the movie, but it's in the movie.
Yeah.
Get those, like all those callbacks, like the Iron Giant, seeing this or that. It's just like, yeah, I remember playing that game, or I remember that movie, or it's just shit was fun.
See, it's like that when I watch Crank. Like, I remember those drugs. I
remember those drugs.
I can see. I've been doing a lot of. I've been doing a lot of VR lately. I've got an Oculus and my PlayStation and stuff. And I can see, like, when I do this boxing game and I take off the thing and I'm in this little room. But when you're in the VR, you're like in this giant arena and you're doing cool stuff. So I can see, like, in the future when people are living on top of each other and you got like a little 8x8 area that's yours, I could totally see you immersing yourself in this giant world that you can do anything and you can be free and you're not just stuck in a little area. It totally resonates, and I think it's coming very, very soon. But yeah, totally.
Just don't die, because you'll lose your shit, your literal shit.
Yeah, actually, I'm working on a series right now called Bongtum Leap, where I'm playing a VR game where I take a hit off a bong and I get transported into a quantum leap type universe, and it's me playing VR, and it's basically me leaping from VR game to VR game after I beat it and trying to get
That's cool shit, actually.
Yeah, I'm working on it now. I'm doing boxing. I'm in the boxing realm right now. So.
Counting Plus is the perfect game for that. It's a game that was written by the creators of Rick and Morty.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah,
it's
definitely.
hilarious. It's so.
All right, we have one final matchup, and this is the two winners from this week and last week. And Brian starts us off. Our new bastard starts us off. Brian, myself, and Jess have not blown their load. I'm blowing my load on this one because I am a man of completion. But Brian, is it Crank or Raiders of the Lost Ark?
It would be sacrilege to blasphemy, even, to go against Raiders. I gotta say Raiders of the Lost Ark.
It gets a vote. I'm blowing my load, as I said. So Jess.
I'm gonna go with Raiders. They gotta win at something for once.
It gets a vote. Q. He's gonna love this, but Q, who's gonna win this?
Oh, we already know who's winning this. But I just want you guys to know the Ark was never lost. It was never built.
Wrong.
It was we gave it, obviously.
I just keep
With-
ruining your jokes, don't I?
Yeah, Raiders win the Fox Super Bowl.
Yeah.
God damn
Encouraging
it.
him.
Raiders does win it on this one. Ryan,
So he's right. It's blasphemy not to go with Raiders. Also, something that I think everyone always says about Raiders. Well, if Indiana Jones isn't in it, the movie's no different, right? They still get the arc. They still open it. Not true. What's her name? Why am I drawing a blank? The main female lead. Is it Marianne?
I can't think of her name. I know she was
Like
out
Marianne,
eating grass. She had a
she would
breakdown.
die.
Got her eating grass.
She would have died if Indiana Jones isn't in that film. Also, the best,
Marion Ravenwood.
the whole sword pistol draw is just
Yeah.
I love that.
it's
Yeah,
such
that's
a
a
great
great
scene that has been memed to death and still never gets old. So Raiders by far.
I love that scene just for the simple fact that it was supposed to be much bigger, but he was sick that day. So but the guy that doing the sword and everything else, he trained for that. Like he did that entire thing, had multiple classes, and Ford was just fucking sick that day. So the guy got to do a sword play, and he's like, sword's like, fuck this, shoots him and walks off. One of the funniest fucking stories. I'm going with Crank. I can be sacrilegious as I care to be because I'm an atheist. So fuck that. Crank is the type of movie that, as Brian was saying, that if you're not thinking about anything else but the movie, because this movie draws you in completely. If you're on a date and you take your date to watch this movie, and you can get to the point where you completely forget about what kind of hanky panky is going to happen after the movie, Crank draws you in that much.
Yeah.
I don't think Raiders would
Craig
draw
would
you
just
in.
give me that much rage for the
That's
hanky
true.
panky after the
Yeah,
movie.
Yeah, it would getting your blood going and everything else, getting your testosterone going for the hanky panky afterwards, but it would also draw you in enough that you wouldn't actually think about it until the movie was over.
It'd be giving me ideas to be like, should I hook these up to her nipples and hit the shock button? Not like.
Only if they're pierced. Okay, anyway. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Q gets his victory this week. Raiders of the Lost Ark wins this in a 4-1 against Crank. Jess, where can we find you?
I didn't. What the hell was that for?
We're on camera, Jess. Wait.
That's what I'm saying. Jeez.
Knock on the door. Boom, boom, boom. Domestic violence here.
I saw your bitch ass on YouTube.
You can find me on Facebook under Jess May Vandy Street or Instagram under Jess May 93 or on this podcast.
Q.
Of course, you can find me on the Bragging Bastards podcast because, I'm the best bastard. You can't really have a show without me.
Oh,
That's
bullshit.
great.
Yeah.
I feel like we lose viewers if I'm not here.
Nope,
Oh yeah, most definitely.
not at all.
He's
But
the
anyway,
Harrison Ford to our Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
You're like,
oh,
don't encourage him. Don't encourage
it's like
him.
you're right. Like he couldn't be here, and we still the movie would still be the same.
Oh, that hurt.
Cha-ching!
Ouch.
Our newest bastard, Brian. Where can people find you?
Whoa,
Hey,
let me finish. I may not be a man of completion as our humble host over here says, but y'all can find me still on Facebook under my name or on the Instagram as Master Bastard Q, not Masturbator Q. Do not confuse those two. They're
That's
two different
somebody
people.
else.
Masturbator Q is my cousin. Three of us know that joke. The other two probably don't, but that shit's funny. And Master Bastard Q, though, is this guy.
I figured the other one was just your OnlyFans page.
I like that
No.
better. I like that better, actually. Let's go.
I'm pretty sure OnlyFans bans bestiality at times. Brian, where can people find you?
Hey, check me out on the dailydank.com, guys. Daily Dank on YouTube. We go live every morning at 7:10 for the 7:10 Wakey Morning Show. We cover a whole bunch of stuff, whether it be the craziest place on earth or what do we do? The craziest excuses to get out of jury duty. It's live, interactive. We give out prizes every day for a line of the day. So bring your smart ass comments up, and I'm reading them live, and someone will win line of the day. We do the 420 podcast Monday through Friday at 420, and we just got a whole mess of content over there, guys. Off the beaten path, where I go and explore stuff. Check it out, dailydank.com. Yeah, if you love smoke, if you love pop culture, you'll love it, guys.
That's West Coast time period, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure they know.
Sorry about that. Yeah. All on California time, guys.
And our lovely guest this week, Ryan, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can check me out on Twitter at GGProCopper, or check me out at our website, ggproductions.org. Like you said, hey, you want marketing material, you want custom logos, we have custom stream setups, and everything's 100% hand-drawn. Also, you can also check us out at Midnight Coffee on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, anywhere. We're actually on hiatus right now. So this is a perfect time to get caught up on our past episodes. We go from everything from, the latest of like E3 to our favorite game show called Master Debaters, where we just argue over really stupid stuff. Personal favorite question was, who was a better chef, Master Chief or Doom Guy? So we get all kinds of crazy, we get all kinds of crazy fun arguments like that. So please check it out and stay tuned, because we're going to have a movie-based podcast coming up, hosted by me with a bunch of guests. Hell, I'll probably drag a couple of these guys on for some episodes of that too, if they're down. So any of those places, and even if it's just say, hey, I enjoyed this episode, I just love hearing from the community. So
Nice.
And just so everybody that could see this or be watching it, all that just came from the guy who doesn't think ramen is soup.
ramen is not soup. Ramen's its own thing.
Yeah, ramen's ramen, dude.
Soup.
Yeah.
It says ramen noodle soup on the package.
No,
What
but
do you
broth
need?
is just there, right? You don't call like
So
a
much passion.
cheeseburger isn't like soup because you've got ketchup and mayonnaise on it, right? It's just part of that. The broth is essentially like the condiment for the noodles. Okay. The noodles.
So what happens if you take the broth off and just eat the noodles? Is it still soup?
It's ramen.
No, then it's noodles.
Then it's
Okay.
then it's a noodle dish.
So
But you can always keep the broth in.
depends. It depends how you eat it, because I don't eat the broth. I just I drain the
No,
broth
you
off.
drink
and eat
You
it.
drink the broth, obviously. You can't fucking.
I don't.
You broth.
What
I
about
don't
a
eat the
French
broth.
dip sandwich? Is a French dip sandwich soup because you're dipping it in the?
Yeah.
In the
Okay, no, that's not how that works.
Yeah. No, it's the it's the condiment. Okay, I'm just
The
saying.
stranger. You got to do the stranger.
Oh,
with it upside
stranger.
down.
Sit on
Well,
your hands for a while. so
If I
it's
just sit on my left hand for long enough period, I'll fall asleep. Same thing.
Stranger in the bathtub. I am your host, Freddie Fisher. You can find me at that on Facebook. While you're on Facebook, check out Bracketology. As always, we have 2 polls going up every single day. Currently, it is video game franchises, and we just started movie spoofs. So we just did movie spoofs on here a couple weeks ago. We're doing the same bracket over there. You guys can vote on Twitter at Fisher777. We're all at Bracket Pod, and on Instagram, as always, at Can't Lick Me. Not one word. Next week, we are doing comic book movies rebastard. We did this bracket a long ass time ago. It was one of our first original 10 brackets that we did, and personally,
Those were terrible brackets. Let's just be honest.
that one in particular was one of my most hated ones, and I think we got a pretty good crew going on now, so I want to redo it. And next week, as a special guest, we have a returning bastard rejoining the show, Mr. Jeremy Bryant from Paranormal, The New Normal, and 3M, Maniacal Music Musings. I call it 3M on the side. Can't do that because it's the trademark thing. Will be joining us as an official bastard. We have all 7 bastards back now. So that should be fun. And look forward to future Jeopardy episodes, because we do not have a holder of the BBC at this current time. So have fun with that. We will see you guys next week, 1 p.m. Central on YouTube. Enjoy your week, guys.
Bastards out.
Deuces.
Peace.
See you guys. Take care of one another.